Greetings, people of the internet. This is Scott with CircWorks, and welcome to Beyond 100 Days of Making Comics. And what that is, the 100s or the 100 Days of Making Comics is where you spend at least 30 minutes a day, every day, for 100 days straight, working on your own personal comic book project. No matter what else you got going on in the day, you find time, you get that done, and then you let people know about it via social media, YouTube or any other form of social media. I've since finished my 100 days, but I've been doing weekly updates. Well, I say weekly, but it's been a while. I missed a week, and it got to the point where I was just gonna update later, like this last weekend, and it's just so close to next week. I'm like, well, I don't want to do one and then do another one like 2 or 3 days later. So yeah, I missed a week. So I apologize for that. I'd like to say that I put in the cumulative, whatever, 30 minutes a day. That first week, I'm not sure I actually did that. Just a lot of stuff going on right now. I don't really want to get into it, but hopefully things are moving forward, and I'm going to sort of get back into the schedule. I also do another video called Fan Art Friday. I was a little late on one of those, and I think I even mentioned this the week before, that, try to get these things out on a certain schedule, because if you miss, it just throws everything off, and that's kind of the situation that I'm in right now. But anyway, so my comic, Young and the Dead, these are the 2 first issues. It's a kids versus zombie story. If you're a fan of Goonies, or Monster Squad, it's kind of like it's like kids. When I say kids versus zombies, it's like, if those type of stories from the 80s, if you were to cross them with sort of a zombie apocalypse type thing. And just so you know, and I mentioned Monster Squad, and I mention that a lot when I'm doing these little videos, because I compare it to Goonies, and I usually say Goonies. It's Goonies meets Night of the Living Dead, just because I think more people know Goonies. It's a little more of a staple. There's a lot of people out there that haven't heard of Monster Squad, but if you haven't and you're curious and you have Netflix, it is now on Netflix streaming, so there's like no excuse to check out this movie, because personally, I think I like it a little bit better than Goonies. It's really cool. If you like classic Universal style monsters, if you like the whole kids fighting monsters and that type of thing. And if you don't, then I don't know what interest you have in what I'm doing here. But anyway, so that's the comic book. Check out, if you have Netflix streaming, at least in America. I don't know in other countries how it works. But Monster Squad is on there right now, and I was like super psyched that's the case, because I'm always trying to share that with other people, and sometimes it's a little hard to get unless you like look for it or whatever. So yeah, check that out. But anyway, so what's been going on with the comic book? The last update I did, I finished flatting, which are just the basic flat colors, no shading or anything like that. And now I'm starting to go in and actually take those, select those different flat colors. And that's the whole idea, is that you create just these different color blocks within your comic book illustration. And then you can go back in and select, and you can shade in if you're coloring or whatever. In my case, it's black and white, but it has some tones and things. So I'm going in and I'm doing the toning and everything. It's going all right. It still takes a little bit longer. It's weird. I don't know if it takes longer than flatting or about the same time. I kind of thought that now that everything was in place with the flatting, it would go smoother, but it's weird. I'm real weird about settings, like with my brushes and things, and somehow I need to record what my brush settings are and what I like to use, because there's times where I get it where it's exactly the way I want it, and then I forget what those settings are. And so right now it's not quite the way I want it, but it's serviceable, and I'm getting those pages done. So I'm about I think I'm working on page 5 right now of the shading and everything. And I'm going to do a little demo right after I get done talking to you guys and show you one of the pages that I did that in. What else is going on? A couple of questions I want to throw out to you guys that maybe you can help me with. A weird thing happened, and I apologize if you've left a comment on one of my videos and I haven't addressed it. I know of 1 or 2 that I didn't address, and then it got to be so long that I just, I didn't want to answer a question or a comment that somebody left a while back. But yes, it's weird. Like usually I get, anytime somebody does leave a comment, it alerts me on my email and on my phone. And right now it's not alerting me on my email. And it will sometimes alert me on my phone, but those messages, they tend to get lost or buried or whatever, where the email's kind of always there. So I don't know why that is. I went through, I went on YouTube, I made sure to check, make sure I'm receiving all the messages under that. But for whatever reason, I'm not getting those. So if I don't respond, I apologize. I really try to make it a point to respond to anyone that leaves me a comment. So if I don't, like I said, I apologize, and I'm trying to figure that out. But if you know, other than conventionally going into the settings and making sure it's checked off that you're receiving internet, I mean, if you're receiving email notifications, if you know if that is checked and it says that I'm receiving email notifications when somebody leave a comment, and I'm not, if anyone knows why that is, please let me know. The other thing, yeah, so I've been looking at other ways to promote my site and try to build the audience and everything, and I'm talking to a few different people about different ways to do that. One of the things I wanted to do was add one of those little, if you've seen, like, if you usually, I think it's if it's a channel that you go to that you're not already subscribed, they'll have kind of like an introductory video. I don't know what that's called, but it shows up, and I think it goes away once you subscribe. I think that video goes away. But if you've seen these where you go to a video and there's basically a video to talk about what the channel's about and get you to subscribe, I'm trying to do one of those, but I'm trying to find YouTube videos on how to do that. But every single keyword I search in isn't the right thing. I don't know the terminology, what that video is called. If any of you guys know what that is, or how to create one of those videos, not production wise, but just how to get it in the right spot and have it so it shows up for people who haven't subscribed yet, please let me know about that, because the research I'm doing is coming up with the wrong results, probably because I'm not using the right terminology or whatever. So anyway, what else? Yeah, I think that's about it. I'm just looking at my notes. I wrote some quick notes. Yeah, so yeah, I'm like, it's crazy. I'm trying to get back into everything. It's so, just this last couple weeks, since September is crazy. If you were following me last year, I did like the art drop thing that Jake Parker started. I didn't even know that happened. That went by. I was so, and that was something I was really looking forward to. And I'm like, oh man, that was like yesterday. So I missed out on that. So trying to get back into the swing of things, and just get this comic, wrapped up and everything. So I'm getting, again, I've been saying this, I'm getting close, but still haven't got to that point yet. So one last thing before I switch over to the little demo of me coloring, I just wanted to give a big shout out to Mike Emirates, who just finished his 100 days of Making Comics challenge. And he had, if you watch his videos, it's a really good one to watch, because he really lays it all out there. I mean, it's like no holds barred. I mean, if he's going through hard times, or there's problems or whatever issues, he tells you like it is. He tells you what's going on, and it's I don't want to say it's like a reality show, but you kind of really get in his head and you see what's going on and all the struggles and everything, and how he's kind of persevered through over those all those issues and things, and actually made it through the challenge and is continuing on, and I think he really found that this really helped him out. So if you have a similar situation where maybe you're not getting anything done, this may work for you. You may want to think about taking on this challenge, because it's worked for a lot of people. Some people it doesn't. Some people, they go and then it's not happening for them, and then they bail out. But it's worth a shot. Give it a shot. It may be a life-changing thing for you, like I think it may have been for Mike. So think about that, and congratulations, Mike. And with that, I'm just gonna go flip over to a screen share of me working on color in the comic, and probably maybe give you some pointers or tell you what I'm doing and everything on that, and just show you some of that process. And then after that, I don't know what I'm going to do, because I don't want to keep doing that, but this is going to be going on for a little while I continue to color these pages. So we'll see in the next few weeks what I'm going to do as far as updates and everything, because it's going to be more of the same for a little bit. But at least with this first one, just like I did with the flatting, I want to do a little demo. So here it is, and yeah, we'll go to that right now. Okay, so here we go. This is page 3 of Young and the Dead, issue 3. And you can see I've already got all the flat colors laid in. That's what I've been doing for the past, I don't know how many weeks. And so now, now that I have those flat colors, you can see that I went through with my magic wand tool in Photoshop and selected certain areas. Now right now I'm just concentrating on like the skin tones of the character. So you know, I don't know if it's a little hard to see, but you can there's the little marching ants around most of the skin tones. Unless two characters' faces are like touching each other, then I might wait and unselect that and then go to something else and then go back in and then drop in these shadows. So that's what I'm doing right now. Is I'm using my brush tool. I've got the pressure sensitivity working, which sometimes is an issue with my computer. It doesn't always work for some reason. I don't know why. But then it's so I've got my shape dynamic. If you go into the brush setting, I usually have shape dynamics checked, transfer checked, and then smoothing. And there's different, you know, there's so many different ways you can adjust it, but I haven't found this perfect way, the way I like it exactly, but this seems to be working okay. So then I'll go in and I always start, whatever color I use is usually my mid-tone. Whatever color I flat with is like my mid-tone. And then I'll go in, right now you can kind of see I'm adding shadows like to the hair. So I'll add all the shadows first, and I pay attention to kind of where the sunlight's coming from. So with this, it's an outdoor scene. The sun's coming from above and sort of to the right. So you can see on the left there's a little more shadow. So I go in, I drop in, you know, my shadows, and I'll do step by step. So first I did all the skin tones. Now I'm doing the hair and dropping in the shadows, and then I'll go and add the highlights to the hair, or similar things. Right now I'm moving on to the clothes. I mean, it's just you kind of repeat that process till you get everything done. Now some of these are looking a little harsh, so sometimes I'll have to go in and tone things down. Like I'll have to go back and select my mid-tone and go back over a little bit so it blends in a little bit. I don't want anything that's like super stark. Unless, you know, sometimes they'll get a little darker shadows, like say for instance under the chin. That seems to, you know, be a good place for shadows and stuff. And even like here, if you look at my character Ox, the girl, over to the right hand side, you can see that or sorry, left hand side, you can see that underneath, you know, even there's even a little darker area that I added with the ink, just to show that shadow. And I don't do a lot of shadows in ink. I mean, most of the work that I do, I leave all the shading for the coloring, except for, like, you know, obviously I'll fill in the hair. If a character's got black hair or whatever, I'll do that with ink and everything. But I don't add as much inking shadows as a lot of artists do, at least not for this project. Certain things I do, but anyway, you can see I'm putting there, right there under the arm, Lloyd, that character that has the bag there, and the Thor's hammer under the arm. There's a little darker shadow, but yeah. So that's a pretty quick and dirty explanation on how I do that. So anyway, thanks for watching. You can check out some of the other videos on the side here. And please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys later, and that is all.